Okay, so get ready for this one because today we're diving into like a real life story, not just some article or research paper.
It's gonna be good.
We're talking about Elon Musk,
Yeah, Tesla,
Tesla and SpaceX.
SpaceX guy. Well, he did this crazy experiment
Oh, I know this one.
where he went undercover as a homeless person.
It's such a good story. It's wild, right?
It's insane.
Yeah.
Like, why would a billionaire do this?
Right.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. It really makes you think about like your own assumptions, you
Yeah.
know? Like here's this guy who could literally do anything, buy anything, and he chooses to experience what it's like to be treated as someone with, well, basically nothing.
Yeah, and he didn't just like dip his toe in. He went all out,
Yeah.
ditching the suits and everything,
Uh-huh.
old clothes. He even like rubbed dirt on his face to blend in.
I heard his team was like, "Elon, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
But he was totally committed to making it authentic.
So he's got the look down, but where does he actually go to
Mhm.
do this experiment? He picked a bank right in downtown LA. It's like he deliberately chose a symbol of like the whole financial system.
So it's not just about being homeless, it's about being shut out of the system.
Exactly. He wanted to see if someone like him, but disguised, could even get in the door, let alone open an account.
What was his plan exactly? Did he have like a fake ID or something?
Nope. His goal was to just walk in with a little cash and no ID, just like many people experiencing homelessness might.
Hmm.
He wanted to see the system from their perspective, how they're treated.
I bet that didn't go so well.
You're right. It's really interesting how he describes these little but like really powerful ways that people judged him based on, just how he looked. Not always like outright meanness, but more like dismissal.
Like being ignored.
Kind of. He
Right.
talks about the receptionist, hesitating and then directing him to a bench instead of a teller window.
Oof, that's gotta sting. So did he even get to talk to anyone?
Yeah, eventually he gets to the assistant manager, but that doesn't go well either.
What happened?
Basically, the guy brushes him off, doesn't even try to help.
Seriously?
Yeah, and you could feel the tension building. He mentions the security guard starts watching him, other customers are whispering, and the assistant manager is getting visibly annoyed. It paints a pretty stark picture and how dehumanizing it can be, like you're invisible.
That's heartbreaking, honestly. It makes you think, how often do we do that without even realizing it? Judge people just by how they look.
Absolutely. It's like this hidden bias we might not even be aware of. But for someone who's already struggling, those assumptions can have real consequences, affect their ability to get housing, a job, even just basic respect.
But Elon being Elon, I bet he didn't just sit there and take it.
Oh, Elon, he pushes back, insists on speaking to the branch manager, Lisa Chen.
Okay, so he's not giving up.
No way. This is where it gets really interesting. It's like a shift in power.
Right.
He's not passively accepting this treatment anymore. He's demanding to be heard, to be seen as, a human being.
Did he get to see her?
He does. And when he gets into Lisa Chen's office, he doesn't hold back.
What'd he do?
Lays it all out.
Yeah.
Talks about fairness, how the system needs to change, be more humane, treat people with dignity.
So he's challenging her.
Challenging her, challenging us, everyone, to look beyond the surface. See the person, not the stereotype.
That's intense. What did she say? Was she receptive to this at all?
Well, it's incredibly tense. And just when you think it can't get any more dramatic, boom, he reveals who he really is. Elon Musk.
No way. Wait, so she had no clue this whole time?
Not a clue. That moment, that reveal, forces a complete reassessment, not just for Lisa Chen, but for us, the listeners too.
Yeah.
It makes you confront your own biases.
Yeah.
Would we have treated him differently if we knew he was a billionaire from the start?
Talk about a reality check. It really makes you think, would I have fallen into the same trap, making assumptions about someone based on how they looked? And what did Elon do after that? I mean, was this whole thing just to prove a point?
Well, that's just the beginning of the story. What he does with this experience is even more remarkable, and that's where things start to get really interesting.
Welcome back. Last time, things pretty intense, right? Elon Musk, undercover as a homeless person, just revealed his true identity to the bank manager.
Yeah, talk about a plot twist. But remember, it wasn't just for the shock value.
Right, he had a bigger purpose, something about financial inclusion.
Exactly. He wanted to use this experience to shine a light on this crucial issue.
So what's financial inclusion in a nutshell?
Basically, it's about making sure everyone has access to, safe and affordable financial services,
Yeah.
no matter their income or background.
Okay, so like having a bank account.
Yeah, things like bank accounts, loans, even just basic financial education, things many of us don't even think twice about.
But for people struggling financially, these things can be a huge hurdle, right?
Huge hurdle, exactly. And that's what Elon wanted to expose.
So he does this whole undercover thing, reveals himself, and then what? How does this turn into a campaign for financial inclusion?
Well, think about it, Elon Musk, right? That guy's got a massive platform, huge influence, and he's not afraid to use it.
So he's got everyone's attention. What did he do with it?
He launched this whole campaign talking about his experience, the biases he faced, put a lot of pressure on the banks, call them out on their practices.
So did the banks actually do anything? Or was it all just talk?
Oh, no, they definitely felt the heat. A lot of major banks, including the one from Elon's experiment, had to react.
So what did they do? Make a bunch of promises they probably didn't keep?
Some did more than just talk. They started rolling out some interesting initiatives to, make their services more accessible.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, some started offering these second chance accounts.
Second chance accounts. What are those?
They're designed for people who might not have a traditional credit history or even a fixed address, which can be a big barrier for people experiencing homelessness.
Oh, so they don't need all the usual paperwork.
Not necessarily. It gives people a way to, get back on their feet financially, even if they've had a rough patch.
That's actually really cool. So they can start saving, managing their money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And some banks partnered with, local shelters and nonprofits to offer financial literacy workshops.
Smart. Because even with a bank account, you need to know how to manage money, really.
Yeah, it's about giving people the tools and knowledge, not just access. It was a big shift in thinking for some banks.
Yeah, they realized that, helping more people isn't just about being nice. It can be good for business, too.
Absolutely. Expand your customer base, reach new markets, plus it creates a more inclusive society which benefits everyone in the long run.
Right, it's a win-win. But did this whole thing stay focused on just banking? Or did it go beyond that?
We're definitely going beyond banking. Elon's campaign sparked this huge national conversation, about poverty, inequality, the whole system.
He kind of forced everyone to pay attention.
Yeah, it became unavoidable.
Yeah.
People started talking about things they might have ignored before, and not everyone was thrilled about it.
Really?
Right.
Why not? He was bringing attention to important issues.
Some folks thought it was a bit too, dramatic, like he was using a vulnerable population for publicity.
I get that. It could seem that way. But I think his intentions were good, right? He wanted to understand the problem and then use his influence to make things better.
Right, and it wasn't just a one-time thing. He kept supporting organizations fighting for change, advocated for new policies.
So his commitment was real. He was in it for the long haul. It's inspiring, someone with his resources using them for good like that. Makes you wonder what we can do even in our own small ways to make a difference.
It's a good reminder that we all have a part to play in building a fairer system.
Oh.
So we've seen how this whole thing blew up, got people talking, even forced some action. But did these changes actually stick? Did they make a lasting difference?
All right, so we've seen how Elon's, undercover adventure kind of blew up the whole financial inclusion thing.
Got everyone talking, forced some changes, but did those changes actually, stick? Did they make a real difference in the long run?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Was it just a flash in the pan or did things really shift? Well, it's been a few years now.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see how things have played out. The push for financial inclusion hasn't gone away. If anything, it's gotten bigger.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not just about helping, people experiencing homelessness anymore.
So who else is it reaching now?
Think about all the groups who've, traditionally had a tough time with banks and financial stuff.
Okay.
People with disabilities, immigrants, families struggling to make ends meet, people with bad credit or no credit history at all.
They all kind of get left behind.
Exactly. And those barriers, they can trap people in this cycle of, poverty and inequality.
It's hard to get ahead when you can't even get a bank account or a loan.
Exactly. So the question is, how do you break down those barriers?
Yeah, how do you make the system more inclusive? Well, one of the most exciting things happening is the rise of these fintech companies.
Fintech.
Yeah.
I've heard that word, but I don't really know what it means.
Basically, they're tech companies focused on financial services.
Okay.
And they're using technology to, create new solutions that bypass those traditional banking hurdles.
So like apps and stuff.
Yeah. For example, there are apps now that let you open a bank account using, different kinds of ID.
Okay.
Like a passport or a consular card.
Ah, so it helps immigrants who might not have a social security number.
Exactly. It's huge for them.
So they're not shut out anymore.
Right. And there are platforms that help people build credit in new ways, like by reporting their rent payments or utility
That's
bills.
like smart.
Yeah, stuff that traditional credit bureaus often ignore.
So it gives people a way to like prove they're reliable.
Exactly. And then there are these online lenders that offer small loans with like better terms than those payday loan places.
The ones with crazy high interest rates.
Yeah, those. These fintech lenders can help people avoid falling into like a debt trap.
That's a huge help.
It is. So yeah, technology is playing a big role in making financial services more accessible.
But technology can't solve everything, right?
You're right. We still need good policies and regulations to make sure these new services are fair and actually help people.
So it's got to be like a team effort.
Yeah, we need the government to step up too, set standards, protect consumers,
Yeah.
make sure innovation doesn't just benefit the companies, but actually helps the people it's supposed to help.
Sounds like it's a work in progress, but we're heading in the right direction.
Definitely. There's still a long way to go.
Yeah.
But it's good to see how much progress has been made, since Elon's experiment.
It's crazy how that one story got the ball rolling.
It is. But it's on all of us now to keep that momentum going.
What can we do?
Well, we can support organizations working on this, advocate for better policies, and just, check our own biases.
Like when we see someone who's struggling, don't make assumptions.
Exactly. Treat everyone with respect and dignity. Remember, everyone deserves a chance to succeed.
Well said. I'm really glad we did this deep dive.
Me too.
It's been fascinating and kind of inspiring. It shows how one person can spark change, but it takes all of us to keep it going.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
a reminder that we all have a part to play in creating a fairer world.
So, to all our listeners out there, thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive. Hopefully, you learned something new and feel, empowered to make a difference.
Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep pushing for a more inclusive world. Until next time.